conservation photographer for over 20 years now, based in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So I've spent most of my career as a still photographer working on land conservation issues throughout New England, for the most part, with primarily with NGOs, local and national NGOs. And about 5 years ago, I started getting into making short films to bring to life some of the characters I was meeting in some of my conservation projects, photo projects, and got introduced to the issue of Northern Pass, and did some work for the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forest, where we interviewed some folks affected by Northern Pass. And that
take a second and tell us, give me an overview of what Northern Pass is for somebody who might not have heard of the term.
So Northern Pass is a proposed electricity transmission line that Hydro-Quebec, partnering with Eversource Energy here in New England, wants to bring from basically Quebec down through the middle of New Hampshire for 180 miles. It will include 1,500 towers that range in height from 80 to 135 feet.
1,500 towers.
1,500 steel towers. It will cross some iconic landscapes in New Hampshire, like the White Mountain National Forest, the Appalachian Trail.
Does it branch off from this thing so that New Hampshire gets this power, or what?
Well, it hooks into the New England grid at its terminus in Deerfield, New Hampshire, which is in south central New Hampshire, and from there it plugs into the grid and will basically be distributed throughout New England. I mean, how the grid works is somewhat complicated. The demand for power is more in southern New England than it is in New Hampshire itself. And that's one of the things the film explores is how much power does New Hampshire use compared to what it exports and things like that. There are people in the film who refer to New Hampshire as the extension cord from Quebec to
that's a better way of doing it,
And one of the reasons I wanted to make this film, there have been other documentaries made about the Northern Pass issue, but my experience as a conservation photographer has been protecting lands, and some of these lands are actually impacted by this, but they're places that I know people from outside the directly affected area like to use. Places like the Appalachian Trail, the White Mountain National Forest. So I wanted to show that this issue doesn't just impact people who will see the power lines from their backyard, that it impacts people in Boston, people here in the Upper Valley who might like to hike on the Appalachian Trail. They might hike from Hanover into the Whites for a couple of weeks every year.
Yeah, I see people doing it all spring, summer, and into the fall.
Exactly, and they'll have to cross this corridor on Kinsman Ridge. So to me, it was important to tell this story outside of the immediately affected area, and to do it in a way that I thought could be compelling enough to interest people outside New Hampshire.
So this is contested, obviously, and there's heated discussions. Is there a portal, is there a place where people can go to get up to speed on Northern Pass and the influences, both the positive and the negative, if there are in both categories?
I'll tell you my website, which is ecophotography.com, ecophotography.com.
All one word.
All one word. And you'll see a link for the film, which is called The Power of Place, on there. And when you get to the film's webpage, there are links to other resources, including the official Northern Pass website, which will show you all their stated benefits of the project. It also has great information for where these lines are going to be and size of the towers in particular spots and all that kind of stuff, which is really good information to be able to look at when you're deciding how you feel about this.
Has there been a map made so somebody might be able to see a map of what it's going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, they do have maps on their website.
Cool.
Some of the other sites I link to include the Appalachian Mountain Club's website. They've come out in opposition to Northern Pass, and they've created some videos that do flyovers using Google Maps that show the route, and the visual impact of these towers is overlaid on the Google Maps in their videos. And then the other sites I link to are the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forest, who's been opposed to this since the beginning, and a grassroots organization called No to Northern Pass. So those are sort of the main places where you can start getting your information about this.
Terrific. So tell us your website one more time.
Ecophotography.com.
Great.
ECO Photography.
Do you use Twitter or Facebook or any of the social platforms?
I am on Twitter as Jerry Monkman, JerryMonkman.
Okay.
Also Instagram with the same handle.
Nice idea.
I have a Facebook page for eco-photography and for the film itself, The Power of Place.
Great. So those are all good places for people to
Yep.
to go and follow you. Well, I'm really excited about seeing the film, and I'm going to put this up on a blog post and share it around so that other people can see it. And
Thanks, Bob.
we appreciate your
Yeah,
work.
I should mention that
Please.
you can actually buy a DVD of the film on the website.
Great.
And there's also links to a Vimeo on demand page where you can rent it for $2.99 for 48 hours, or buy an online streaming version. If you
Brilliant
want it
move.
that
Yeah,
way
that's
as
a
well.
great idea. So I'll put links in the show notes, and we'll get you all set up. Cool. Great. Let's go watch the film.